Welcome to your Daily Detroit for Friday, August 30th, 2019. I'm Sven Gustafson.
And I'm Jer Stays. Before we get started, we've slowed down the number of shows for this week, but we haven't been slowing down. There is a lot happening behind the scenes here.
That's right. We're in the process of setting up a new home base, a true Daily Detroit headquarters, if you will. We're being deliberately coy for now on the location. But that's why this show sounds a little different than it usually does. If you could see this room we're in, though, you'd see some new sound panels that Jer and Cheyenne built for us last night. They're state-of-the-art sound panels, Jer.
It's amazing what you can do with a little elbow grease and
that Home
screws.
Depot cardboard panel. That's crafty, man. Plus, Jer, you've been dealing with moving into a new place. That's been an ongoing saga. And me, well, I've been carless for the past several days. All because my 15-year-old Subaru, well, for all intents and purposes, it's dead. It's done. I'm going to donate it to the car gods in the sky. Jer, that gives you and I yet another thing in common, man.
I mean, carless in the Motor City is a trip, my man.
Yes.
But the bottom line, all will be ready to go with your show on Tuesday. But enough of all this stuff. Let's dive into why you're here, the stuff that happened around Detroit right after this. Daily Detroit is brought to you in part by Repurpose. That's where you can get hired by Detroit's best startups and companies. Repurpose connects top talent like you with purpose-driven companies based on values, experience, and culture fit. Join their talent community at repurpose.co. That's repurpose.co.
Detroit's Jefferson Chalmers neighborhood has seen better days, but it's also the focus of lots of interest from developers, nonprofits, and city officials. The East Jefferson Development Company and the community development nonprofit Jefferson East has been holding a series of community engagement sessions this week. They've been seeking input from neighborhood residents and others about what kinds of businesses, housing, transportation, and other public amenities they'd like to see in the business district and surrounding neighborhoods. The organization will present a draft master plan for Jefferson Chalmers on Friday night. Now, we had an interview with Josh Elling of Jefferson East back in 2017 all about the increased interest in redevelopment activity, and we'll link to that in the show notes. We'll also aim to reconnect with that organization for an update here in the coming week or so.
It would be really good to do that because Josh Elling really dropped a lot of great gems the last time that you talked to him, because there is a lot of things happening on that neighborhood that's near the border of Grosse Pointe. One of the things I wanted to mention that's happening over there too is this Alma Kitchen spot that's opening up in an old like Kresge 5 and Time building that I remember actually, I think it's a hardware store. When I lived over that way as a kid, I would actually walk over there with my dad. I remember that whole area.
A lot of potential over there, man. That business district there is beautiful. I mean, I used to live. You're an long time former East Sider, I should say. I used to live over in Grosse Pointe and go through there all the time, and I love that business district there. But man, when I was there was really nothing going on there.
I mean, things really fell off when I was about like 9 or 10.
Yeah.
It was definitely like going downhill. But I remember distinctly when I was about 9 or 10, everything like closing up for good. But the new stuff that's going in there is really exciting. This Alma Kitchen is, I guess it's going to blend Chinese and Mexican cuisine with like American food. So like a fusion place, and it's going to open up in November. What do you think of that?
It sounds interesting. I mean, we'll have to, the proof's going to be in the pudding, and definitely a challenging neighborhood to operate a business. But Norma G's has been open for, I don't know what, more than a year now.
It's a beautiful spot.
I still haven't made it over there, and it's on my list. We were going to go over there for lunch one time until we found out that they don't serve lunch. But, hey, more power to them.
We should do the show over there sometime. That would be a lot of fun. There's so much great architecture there too. You talk about the Vanity Ballroom that's just gotten a chance to tour a couple times. We got some pictures up on the website. If you search, it's really gorgeous.
So my friend went to one of these open houses, the design open houses, the other day, and he actually kind of told me about what's going on over there. And he said he was talking to a lot of the nearby residents who frankly expressed a little bit of skepticism about the Vanity Ballroom because, they said structurally it's in really bad shape other than the facade, which is still mostly intact. And, a lot of the people there said, I'm not sure what we would use this for. I mean, people don't ballroom dance anymore.
Well, I think that would be a great thing to talk to Josh about. And I understand it's going to get some streetscape upgrades, or there's a good chance it will, kind of like in that Livernois style. Because we were just over there on the Avenue of Fashion, that huge project that they're doing. They seem to be moving along with it, but it's making a pretty big impact. I feel like a streetscape improvement plan over there on Jefferson, it'd be better to pull the Band-Aid off and do it before too much momentum gets started.
Yeah, and we talked about it in a previous show. It's one of the commercial corridors identified under the Strategic Neighborhood Fund that, is doing Livernois, as we mentioned, the Rosedale Business District up on Grand River and so forth. Also, there's been talk about a new grocery store. Again, we'll try to get some more information about it, but it's exciting news for sure.
Well, and a lot of folks over there will end up shopping either down like Riverbend, or they'll go up into the Village, the Grosse Pointes. There's a Kroger there. There's a Trader Joe's, which, by the way, this is completely apropos of nothing. If there's anything I think downtown Detroit really needs, it's Trader Joe's. That's where people actually shop.
Transit riders in Metro Detroit now have the ability to pay for SMART and DDOT bus fare, and soon the QLINE, all from a dedicated mobile app. Today is the release day for the DART app, which enables users to buy passes that can be used to ride SMART in the suburbs and DDOT in the city, all from their smartphone or mobile device. The QLINE is supposed to join the DART app starting October 1st. Users download the app, create an account, and upload their payment information. They can then purchase passes that they can then hold up and show to the bus drivers upon boarding. Passes are available for 4 or 24 hours, or for 7 or 31 days, all at standard or reduced fare rates. The app was created by Passport, which also developed the Park Detroit mobile app for the city of Detroit. Jer, I got to say, Park Detroit is not my favorite parking app. I mean, not that I'm like a connoisseur of parking apps or anything, but I do use some.
Hold on, better call Randy. We got to get the artisanal parking app together.
I mean, I will say it works. It's just not as smooth, and it has like a couple more steps than I think it really needs. And I also don't appreciate the fact that it like starts your session before you've actually said, yes, I agree to all these terms, which is kind of cheap, but whatever. But again, it works. It works fine. And overall, look, this is definitely a much needed and positive step for transit in Metro Detroit. And one, that now that I am sans automobile, I will definitely be using in the near future.
A veritable town within a city of tiny homes is coming together in the Dexter-Linwood neighborhood, thanks to Cass Community Services. On Thursday, the nonprofit announced that 6 new tiny homes, and that's on top of all the ones that have been reported over the last few years on outlets around the country. Well, 6 new homes have been constructed, with 6 more tiny homes financed by a corporate sponsor, Epitech. The homes are designed to give housing to low-income residents through a rent-to-own plan. Future rounds of houses will be available for those with disabilities and larger families. And I'll say this right here. They look great, and I would totally live in one with my dog. I will not be ashamed to admit it. And here's the kicker about these. I think this is kind of interesting. This isn't a government program, Sven. Like, this is not something that's like a bunch of grants or whatever. Cass, Reverend Faith Fowler, is making it happen through donations of money, materials, and time. It's real grassroots. I would say right here, this is where you come in. If you think this is a cool project, there is actually a fundraiser where they're doing tours of these tiny homes. I actually got to see some of the earlier rounds. They're really cool. They all have unique designs, which is really exciting. It's really fun because I don't like houses that all look the same next to each other. I like the unique architecture of Detroit neighborhoods, and I like that they keep that going. So here's the deal for this fundraiser. This is not a paid ad. This is just my personal plea because I think they're a great group. For $75 for one ticket or $100 for a pair, you can go on a guided tour and check them out for yourself. And I'll say this, I'm one of those guys who watches Big Living in a Tiny House all the time on YouTube, so this is right up my alley.
Yeah, Netflix just started carrying a tiny home show. I can't remember what it's called. I just watched a couple episodes the other night. It was sort of like a guilty pleasure, but it was good.
It's amazing what they can fit in these little spaces.
Because they get into like, you start thinking about the couple that's moving in there from their big house and all their clutter, and you're like, is their marriage going to last?
Do they really love each other that much? Well, you can get a ticket and snag yourself a spot at casscommunity.org/tinyhomes.
It's been a while since we checked in on Detroit City FC news, so we called in our good friend Fletcher Sharpe, soccer correspondent and co-host of the Outer Drive podcast, to bring us up to speed. Fletcher, good to see you again.
Thanks for having me. Really appreciate, the chance to talk more about soccer.
Well, we love your soccer insights, man. So, okay, pretty good start for City in the NPSL Members Cup tournament so far. 2 games into the season, perfect record, 6 points. The only team in the Members Cup to post a perfect record. They got a 2-1 win at home against Chattanooga FC, and then they went last week out to California and took a 4-0 drubbing against, or I should say they posted a 4-0 drubbing against Napa Valley. Fletcher, I mean, based on these 2 early results, it seems like City's in pretty good form. What does it tell us about City and the Members Cup, the field of teams?
They're really clicking. They ended the season on a sad note, but they even then they still played well in that game, and you can see coach has them really clicking going forward. The game in Napa Valley, it was 4-0 after the first 22 minutes. So they kind of put it on a first gear after that, kind of to chill out and make sure that they enjoyed their time out there. But you can tell when the game really matters, they're just crushing teams and rolling over them, which is a good thing going forward for your professional brand that you're trying to grow.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and to get a 4-0 result all the way out in California, and that was a late game, owing to the time difference and everything. Late game. I mean, that you would expect that to be a tough game given the travel and the late time and everything.
Totally. You'd expect the team to be kind of tired, and I'm sure they probably had some fatigue from the travel and the time zone and everything, but they still imposed their will early on. I'm pretty certain that's probably why it was only 4-0 and not higher, just because I'm sure the physical fatigue, mental fatigue set in and maybe got some tired legs as a result of travel.
Meanwhile, City has lost a couple longtime players who have announced their retirements from the team. Tell us about that.
David Edwardson, who served as a captain for the last couple of years, and Seb Harris, who came from the Michigan Bucks, became a big name on the defensive end, became a fan favorite with this windmill celebration. It's kind of something I said earlier on when they became a professional team, they'd be losing some fan favorites who might not be the professional stage of their career anymore, but were still people they loved because they gave passion. So in order for them to get better as a team, some of these people have to go, and this is the first real names you're seeing who are removing themselves. I know Seb, I think, traveled with them to Napa, or he played with them in Chattanooga, one of those 2 games. I saw his name on the roster, but you're gonna be seeing them a lot less. They'll be there for friendlies. They'll be there in support, but you won't be seeing them dress up and wear the armband or anything like that.
Speaking of friendlies, City is next in action Saturday night at Keyworth. They're playing the home leg of a home and away stand against the Philadelphia Fury, which is part of NISA, the new league that City will be joining starting next season. Fletcher, what's sort of noteworthy about this friendly?
Well, the Fury have the same colors as Detroit City, so that's going to be interesting to see. They are a rebrand of the team from 1978, which was actually co-invested by Rick Wakeman, Peter Frampton, Mick Jagger, and Paul Simon. So that's pretty cool.
Back from the North American Soccer League of the old New York Cosmos Pele era.
Exactly. So it's really good to get a rebrand the right way of a name. There have been a few older teams rebranded, like Bethlehem Steel, which was a really cool, for people who don't know, one of the best lower league teams ever out of Pennsylvania. The rebrand is kind of done the wrong way, so it's unfortunate. This is one of the ways where it's done the right way, where it's independent. The team can actually grow itself, continue the name brand. So it should be really great to see Detroit battle against its own independent team with a old flavor.
Yeah, very cool. And we should mention the away leg. The City will travel to Philly to take on the Philadelphia Fury October 26th. Meanwhile, Fletcher, NISA, we mentioned, the new league that City will be joining next season, announced a streaming deal with something called My Cujo, which for Stephen King fans, no relation. But what's the deal there?
Have you ever taken a shower and put shampoo on your hair and it got in your eyes and you're like, I can't really see anything? Because if you have, that's better than the streaming rate of My Cujo. My Cujo is a phone and app for your TV, whether it's Apple TV, Fire, whatever, where it allows you to stream games through other people's services. So I know Detroit City FC mainly uses YouTube. My Cujo can latch onto that and make it its own sort of thing, so it's able to be broadcast for everybody. Unfortunately, if the team who is running it does not have like a good system, My Cujo will just be terrible for them, and most NPSL teams don't. I know the NPSL reached out to do it because it made it fair for everybody, because some people had legit professional productions, like Detroit City FC used to be a part of Fox Sports, and now, to be fair, they went to YouTube, so everyone can use My Cujo. And this whole past NPSL year, everyone complained about it. Even the teams that had good streaming services complained about it. So to see NISA, who's been taking some really great steps since rebranding and getting some new owners, partner with them, it's a little mind-boggling. Hopefully it goes better with professional teams versus unprofessional teams. But at the same time, like, why would you risk taking a chance to have awful streaming service when you're a brand new league? Word of mouth is great when you're coming up. This could potentially damage it a little bit. Not so much, because they still have some really great teams in there, but I don't understand why you would do that. Also, they announced it the same day that the USL, the second division in American soccer, partnered with ESPN. So it looks really bad that they're getting like legit actual coverage with legit actual proper frame rate and cameras, and you are having someone film it with a literal periscope. So I don't know.
And it shares its name with a rabid dog of celluloid fame.
Did not know that, but that's
You've never seen Cujo?
I have not.
It's pretty epic, man. All right, Fletcher, man, thanks for coming down as always and sharing your soccer wisdom with us here in the new Center Park. Great to see you.
Thanks for having me.
All right, that'll do it for today's show, our last for the week. We'll be back at it in full force next week, starting after the Labor Day holiday.
Jer, speaking of which, any plans for the long Labor Day weekend ahead? There's a lot going on around town, as there is every Labor Day weekend here in Detroit. You get the Hamtramck Labor Day Festival, Detroit Jazz Festival, Arts Beats and Eats up in Royal Oak. I'm sure I'm forgetting a couple. We mentioned the Tiny Homes Tour.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. I might check out one show or something over at Arts Beats and Eats, but man, that Hamtramck Labor Day Festival is always fun.
Yeah, get yourself some dill pickle soup.
Oh, yeah, and pierogi. All right, thanks for listening. Enjoy your weekend. I'm Jer Stays.
And I'm Sven Gustafson. Take care of each other, and we'll see you around Detroit.